So I grew up in a very Christian home. My parents were very heavily involved in the church that we went to at that time. You know, my mom was a high-up pastor in the church, and my dad was a worship leader. So they really instilled in us the core values of, developing a relationship with Jesus and keeping him in our lives, an active part of our lives. Church wasn't an option in my house, nor was hell an option in my house, but I was thankful for that because it instilled in us the value and the importance of going to church. I was raised with two sisters, so you can imagine me being the only boy. My dad really clung to me, and we did so much together. Whether it was like sitting at home in the room together with our computers having an all-night gaming session, or getting takeout and watching an R-rated guy movie while my mom and sisters were away. We wanted to spend as much time with each other as we could. So my dad was an incredible man of God and an incredible worshiper. He really allowed God to flow through him in the way he talked to people and the way he showed his love for me and my sisters and my mom and just anybody that he came in contact with. He was so gentle and loving and kind to them. So I was shocked when we found out. I didn't really know how to think. You don't really plan on getting the news that, your dad's got cancer. You don't really plan on that. And never in my life did I ever think that I would be having to go through that, especially at my age that I was at. I was upset. I didn't understand. And whenever we did pray for God to heal him, and we did lay hands on my dad and speak life over him, and when my dad was speaking life over him, I didn't see anything changing. I didn't really feel like anything was happening. And there were so many times where I would pray for my dad and then step back and go, God, am I doing something wrong? Because I don't feel this happening. I don't feel you coming through me and touching my dad and healing my dad. I don't feel that. So am I doing something wrong? Am I not where I need to be with you? Like, are you giving my dad cancer to show me the consequences for my past sins that I did in my life? I just didn't understand. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And we all thought, God, this is the perfect opportunity to show yourself to these doctors and people who don't believe in God and look at this situation and it looks hopeless to them. This is the perfect opportunity for you to heal him and show yourself that you're real and touch these people and bring them to God. This is the perfect opportunity. But he didn't do that. Getting that news, being woken up in the middle of the night to that, was like your worst nightmare. I mean, getting woken up by your family member saying that your dad's gone is something no person, child or otherwise, ever wants to hear. And we looked like we had it all together. That we were healing, and people knew that we were dealing with things. They knew that we were dealing with grief and loss. But to them it looked like that we were taking it well. That we were healing good, and we had come to grips with the fact that my dad's in a better place and everything. But behind closed doors, that wasn't the case at all. we were dealing with grief harder than it looked. We didn't, I'd come home after class and my mom would be sitting there having a tough day, and her and I would just cry together. And it was a roller coaster of emotions. We'd be doing good, start the day off good. Someone would say something, or I would see a picture of my dad, and it would spark everything back up again. And I would find myself in the middle of class, and someone said something that reminded me of my dad, and I'd be having to hold back tears because I don't know any of these people, and they don't know my situation, and so for me to just start busting out crying is going to feel really weird and uncomfortable for me and them. So I can't do that. I just had to hold back tears until I got to my car, and then I just let it out. We had doubts, a lot of doubts that creeped up, because it did feel like God did not care at times. It felt like that God was this separate entity, that he wasn't in our lives, that he didn't care about us. He's the creator of the universe. He doesn't have time for a little small family in Illinois. We had to struggle with that, and it didn't feel like he was with us sometimes. And doubting, we sing all these songs that God is a healer, but in the midst of the journey, and even afterwards, when the miracle didn't happen, we had doubts, like, God, are you really a healer? Or do you pick and choose who you want to heal? And if so, why didn't you heal this godly man that was my dad? We all had to deal with that. The doctors and the nurses that had been with my dad and taken care of my dad when he was at the hospital were so touched and moved by my dad's attitude. They showed up at the funeral, and they were able to experience worship. Some of them had never even experienced worship in their life. And so that seed was planted at a funeral of all places to come to know Jesus. And, my dad one time in the journey was talking to my mom, and he said, if this whole journey, no matter how it ends, if God uses this journey to just change one life and bring one life to God, to him, then this was all worth it. Bad things like sickness and disease, they don't come from God. God uses what Satan meant for evil, and he turns it for good. And so because of my dad's journey, he was able to touch the lives of his nurses and his doctors, who had never seen someone have such a positive outlook and still be faithful to their God that they serve through all of this. God did heal my dad. My dad's in a way better place than any of us could ever be right now. And he's feeling the best that any of us could ever feel. He's not sad, he's not hurting, he's dancing. And I think that when we came to that realization that God didn't heal Dad the way we wanted him to, but he still healed him, that really helped us to heal. Even when it looks like everything is falling apart, God's got it. And he's going to take all of this horrible stuff that's happened, and use it to shape you and mold you and to bring about good things. That's something that I learned in this whole journey.